What's up guys, Tommy Bowie here from Movie Rewind. Welcome to our annual spring special, and today I thought it would be a great idea to tier rank the current characters of Casualty. Now, as you may have noticed if you have seen my videos before, is that this looks a little different because of course I am recording my screen. This is my first video using OBS. It's software which I've seen before and people use it to record their screens, and I just, for some reason, I've never actually invested in it, but I finally downloaded OBS and I'm really looking forward to using this because obviously it opens the possibility of doing more tier rankings like this in the future. Now, I do have to say, even though I took ICT at A level, my basic ICT skills are shockingly bad. So please be prepared for a few hiccups during this video, and please feel free to comment any ways you think I could improve in doing this type of content, because I'd love to hear you guys' opinions on that. Now, doing a tier ranking of the current characters who appear in Casualty. Now, this is being recorded in late March 2022. So, obviously, some of these characters will have left at some point. Obviously, not all of these characters are going to stay in the program for the remainder of its run, so please keep that in mind. And I would like to say, saying that, a couple of disclaimers before we start. Firstly, I am only doing current characters who appear in Casualty at the time of the recording, because let's face it, if I did a tier ranking of every single character who has ever appeared in Casualty over its 35-year run so far, let's face it, I would have to take a couple of weeks off work in order to get through all of them. Secondly, I'm only including main characters in this ranking, so don't expect to see recurring characters like receptionist Paul, who's Robin's love interest, and that's probably a good thing because Paul is a very terrible character and I don't really like him that much. And thirdly, this is purely based on my opinion. It's very biased because obviously every person who watches Casualty will like different characters for different reasons, so please don't just take my opinion as the definitive answer, because it is definitely not. Please feel free to comment your ranking down below. I'd love to hear where some of these characters rank, and call me out if you think I'm wrong and why. You know, I'd love to hear you guys' opinions. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start off with a relatively new character, and that is, of course, Stevie Nash. Now, she is a consultant in the department, and in terms of Stevie's character, I think we need to see where it's going to go. So she started off as a very vindictive character. She blamed Ethan Hardy for her sister sustaining life-changing injuries, even though it was kind of Stevie's fault as well, because she was cheating on her sister's husband. So yeah, you know, she can't exactly claim that she weren't innocent in that. I do like Stevie's relationship with Faith, but to be honest, she is a character that just hasn't really wowed me since she's arrived. I get what they're going for here, but to be honest, just not a lot has happened with her yet. So I'm going to put Stevie in the D ranking, because to be honest, I just think that we need to see more of Stevie before, you know, we can get a definitive answer on her. Now, next we have Ethan Hardy, portrayed by the fantastic George Rainsford. I mean, let's face it, he is one of the most talented actors working on Casualty at the moment, and Ethan is definitely a character more than any who has really developed since he joined in 2014. I mean, he's a completely different character. All that he's gone through is fantastic. Some of his storylines, his relationship with Alicia is one that I really enjoy. They're my favourite couple to have appeared in Casualty, full stop. In terms of Ethan's best storyline, I really liked his grief storyline once his brother Cal was stabbed. Rainsford really can portray grief well, so Ethan is an amazing character. I've loved every minute he's been in, plus the actor who plays him is superb. So I'm going to put Ethan in the A ranking because he is a really strong character. Now next we have Faith. Now Faith is a clinical nurse No, she's not. Shut up. You can see, this is the problem with on-screen. Faith is an advanced clinical practitioner. Now, she was, of course, married to paramedic Lev. Turned out Lev was gay, and then Lev died. So now she's left with her 3 children. Now, in recent months, I've kind of liked what they've done with Faith's character. The idea that she's kind of in a bit of a mess and she's trying to accustom to single parent life. So that's quite interesting. Really liked her and Dylan together, actually. I felt that there was so much more they could have done with that relationship, but they kind of just made Faith kind of say, because you didn't tell me you're an alcoholic, therefore we're over. So I never really understood why Faith blames Dylan, because to be honest, they weren't even really together yet. They were just getting together, and then Faith decided because Dylan hadn't told her about his alcoholism, he was no better than Lev for keeping lies. So Faith, I like Faith. I think they could do more with her character, but you know what? There's quite a bit of potential there. So I'm going to put Faith in the C tier because I think that she does have the potential there. Whoops. You see what I mean? This is the one problem with doing this. Paramedic Ian D. Now, of course, Michael Stevenson only supposed to be in 1 episode of Casualty and then just kept coming back and eventually became a regular character. Ian is such a fun character. Love him with Dixie and, of course, with Sam. But to be honest, Ian and Ruby are the best. They do work really well together, and it was so sad when Ian left, and, of course, now Ruby's no longer there. So once Ian came back, they never really got a goodbye, because I really do like Ian and Ruby together, and to be honest, I could have seen a relationship developing there. I feel like that was teased but never really went anywhere. Of course, Ian's best storyline is the depression storyline and trying to take his own life. Michael Stevenson was incredible during that storyline. Makes sense why he wanted to take a break from the show, because it must have taken a lot of effort to make that storyline appear real. Ian, he's a great character. He's one of those reliable characters you can count on to make you laugh. He's always trying to put others first. He always supports other characters. He supported Faith when Lev died. He also supported Jacob during his domestic abuse situation. So I think Ian is a great character, and I'm going to put Ian in the B tier because I really do like his character and how he tries to help everyone else and put them first. Jacob Masters. Jacob is an interesting character because some of his storylines I really like, but then others I really don't like. When he found out he had a son called Blake, who Consultant L never told him about, I don't know why, I was just never really interested in that storyline, and because Blake never appears in the show now, it kind of feels like a wasted opportunity. Like, why did that storyline have to happen? What did they actually gain from that? Saying that though, Jacob and Connie's relationship I really enjoyed. And actually the actors themselves were disappointed that it kind of just got forgotten about for several years because producers for some reason didn't like their relationship. But to be honest, I thought they really suited one another. So I really did like their relationship. Also, Jacob's domestic abuse storyline at the hands of Tina, really good storyline. Highlighted the fact that even a seemingly quite masculine individual like Jacob could become a victim of domestic abuse. I felt like that was an incredibly important storyline to show that men get abused too. So Jacob, kind of a mixed bag. Some of his storylines are really strong, others are pretty weak. So I'm going to put Jacob in the C tier because, I like him as a character. I just wish sometimes they did more with him. Marty Kirby. Now, Marty Kirby is, once again, a character which does have potential. I mean, the actor who plays him is really good, and he does the best with what he's given. My problem with Marty is they kind of did the conventional gay storyline in the sense of him hiding from his dad who he truly is and then having to eventually come out. We've seen this done with characters before, so I don't know, maybe it's just me, I'm getting a bit bored of this conventional storyline. I mean, having him now quite confident and being accepted by his mother and father that he's gay, I kind of enjoy, because it gives him a chance to do other things with this character. But once again, some of the storylines are just not that interesting. He's now in a relationship with social worker Adi, And to be honest, once again, that relationship is so underdeveloped. I can't honestly understand why AD is different to anyone else that Marty has had a connection with. So I'm going to put Marty in the C tier because once again, there's potential there. The actor's good, but they just don't really use him that well. Matthew. Now, Matthew is a registrar, and once again, much like Stevie, he hasn't been in the program that long. Now, they're doing a PTSD storyline with Matthew, which is okay. I've seen better PTSD storylines. I mean, Casualty have handled PTSD a lot better with characters like Ian, for example. I find him quite an unlikable character. I mean, he's very arrogant in the sense that he wanted Phoenicia to get back with him. And obviously, Phoenicia was like, no, I'm with Ethan now. And, Ethan and Phoenicia really worked well together. So that, of course, led to Phoenicia's death on a train track because, of course, Matthew decided to go and just, stop her from getting there for a little while. So, yeah, Matthew's a pretty unlikable character. It'll be interesting to see where the PTSD storyline leads to. But at the moment, at the time of the recording, I'm going to put him in the E tier because I'm not a massive fan of this character, to be honest. David Hyde. Now, David Hyde, Jason Durr, let's face it, he's an incredible actor. He was brought in, and for some reason, I loved his character from the off. He was this shy, very quiet, personality. He was kind of awkward around everyone. But, of course, the bipolar storyline I felt was handled really well. He did an amazing job portraying that character. And that was a good build-up as well. It felt correct. It doesn't just happen. Usually there's stuff happens. Like his son went to live with his mum, so he no longer saw his son. So then that caused him to stop taking his bipolar medication. So it was a gradual decline, which I really enjoyed. Him and Rosa's wedding, I liked. That was a good Christmas episode when they got married because I don't know why, but shows are afraid to have more light-hearted Christmas episodes, but Casualty weren't afraid of that, and having David and Rosa get married near Christmas I thought was great. It was a nice change from what other drama series are doing around Christmas. Plus, the bromance between David and Dylan is amazing. I mean, let's face it, everyone has talked about it. They have a really good dynamic between them, and the fact that David is now clinical nurse manager and Dylan is clinical lead, I mean, with them two in those roles, the ED is in very safe hands. So I'm going to put David in the B tier because he's a really strong character and I love the actor to bits. He does the role really well. Charlie Fairhead, the only character to have appeared continuously since the programme's first episode in 1986. Now, I think Charlie doesn't get a lot of criticism because of his status. He's an original character, the only original character, and the actor should be credited for being in the role that long. But Charlie is not the best character, especially in recent years. I often feel like the actor, Derek Thompson, who portrays him, kind of phones it in quite often. He just doesn't seem to have the enthusiasm that he used to have for the role. I mean, I'm currently watching Classic Casualty on UK Drama, which is at the moment, it's on series filmed around 2008, 2009. And Charlie just seems a lot better a character back then than he is now. There's a lot more energy. Recently, I did enjoy Charlie's storyline with Duffy. I felt Duffy's storyline was handled really well and how Charlie mourned her loss. So Charlie, he's an original character, and that is a good thing because having an original character in a program that's been running 35 years is a massive achievement. But in recent years, he's not been at his best. So I'm going to put him in the A tier. I considered S tier, but you know what? In recent years, he hasn't been his strongest. So he's in the A tier at the moment. Dylan Keogh. He's going in the F tier. I am, of course, joking. I cannot believe I just said that. Dylan, best character in Casualty history. William Beck, one of the greatest actors they've ever had the honour of having in their programme. Dylan, I've loved him since day one. He is sarcastic, he is witty, and he's also a very complex character as well. You want to know more about this character's life, from his OCD storyline to his alcoholism storyline. Dylan is a character who's done it all, and William Beck has such a wide range that he's able to really make Dylan a very deeply developed character. So that works really well. The fact that Dylan's now clinical lead makes sense. He was the only person who could take over from Connie Beecham. To be honest, he's a fantastic character. In recent years, I have to admit, while I've enjoyed all his storylines, especially the alcoholism storyline, I felt that was really well done. And the fact that it keeps coming up is good, because alcoholism is one of those things which doesn't go away. It stays with the person for the rest of their life, so it's important they keep referencing it. I wish Dylan could be happy though. I wish he could find love. As I said, I thought him and Faith worked quite well together, but they never really developed that. So in future, I think Dylan's a fantastic character, definitely going in the S tier, because he is just the best character. You can always count on him to steal a scene, whatever episode he is in. But I just wish he had some happiness, I have to admit. Jan. Now, Jan, who's a paramedic and also in charge of the paramedics, originally started out as a recurring character, but has gradually become a main character, which is understandable. Di Botcher does a pretty decent job portraying her. Now, I like Jan's interaction with the other paramedics. She's kind of a motherly figure, especially to Ruby when she first started. I thought Jan was really good during Ruby's tenure as a paramedic, because, you know, she cared for her and tried to support her. Now, her storyline with her son being a drug dealer and Jan kind of having to realise that he's no good, it's kind of stereotypical. It's been done before, so not really that well done. I do like the interactions with her wife. They work, Fionn, that's it, Fionn's the name, a police officer. They work quite well together, but once again, Jan is a character who I feel that they'll have in loads of episodes, but they don't really do anything with her. She's kind of just there at several times. So I'm going to put Jan in the C tier, because once again, I like her. She has some good moments, but most of the time she is kind of just there. Paige. Now, Paige, the newest character on this list, an F1 doctor. I love Paige. I really do. I think she's got a lot of potential. She always makes me smile. It's kind of sad recently she hasn't been on screen, because I think that this character could be really good. I like her interactions with Robin and how she always tries to support everyone in the ED. Plus, I think she works well with Dylan as well. It's a good mentor relationship with Paige trying to impress Dylan and try to learn from him. So, Paige, a character that's got a lot of potential there. I'm actually going to put her in B tier, which is actually quite high, because I know, but I think she's got a lot of potential there, and I enjoy seeing her character on screen. And when you enjoy just seeing a character, then they deserve to be put up quite highly. Rash. Now, Rash is one of those characters, again, I don't think they've developed him enough. I liked him and Jem's relationship, but then that kind of just ended abruptly, because obviously Rash was not in the ED when Jem left, and then when Rash came back like an episode later, which makes you wonder, why didn't they just kind of have them sort out their relationship there and then? Jem just leaves, eventually cheats on Rash, and then she's gone, which is kind of stupid, because I liked their relationship and it just made no sense whatsoever that it just ended the way it did. The gang storyline with Rash, I really didn't enjoy. I found that quite boring. You kind of knew what was going to happen. You knew in the end Rash was not going to become involved in the gang warfare and was going to find a way out of it when things all went wrong. So I do like Rash. Neat Mohan's a good actor, but they just don't give him enough storyline. So I'm going to put Rash in the C tier. I'm feeling I'm putting a lot of characters in C tier, because they have the potential, but they're just not utilising them very well. Robin. Okay, Robin. This is going to be unpopular probably, because Robin is, of course, quite a long-serving character now. She's been in the show since January 2013. I'm not a fan of Robin. I like her in her earlier series. I think she's a lot of fun, and you know, she's always chirpy and bubbly and quite happy, which I think is good, considering some of the characters are quite moody. But since she gave birth to her daughter Charlotte, she's kind of become one of those, kind of like Helen Lovejoy from The Simpsons, kind of, oh, will someone please think of the children? They always kind of go to her to kind of have a mother comment on what's happening, which can get a bit annoying, because I feel like saying, half the time, look, just because you're a mum doesn't mean that you have authority to comment on everyone else's personal problems. Especially, I think whenever like staff come under scrutiny at the ED to the point that they're facing like disciplinary action or something, Robin's always the one who's like, you know what, I have a kid, should my kid be around staff like this? I don't think so. It's like, no one really asked your opinion, Robin. So Robin, despite being a long-serving character, I just don't like some of her storylines. And that's if she even gets a storyline. Let's face it, she doesn't get a lot of storylines that often. So you know what? I'm putting Robin in the D tier because, yeah, I'm not a fan of this character now. Oh, yeah, and her recent love interest, Paul, I hate that relationship. I really do. It just seems so forced. Rossa. Now, Rossa, I've kind of cheated here because Rossa is a recurring character. We don't actually see a lot of her. She's kind of in the distance. But saying that, I really do like her relationship with David, even if it's been tried in recent months, because, of course, David, for some reason, thought Rossa was poisoning his son, which is kind of a bit stupid when you think about it. I do like their relationship, especially the wedding. It was a lot of fun. But, of course, Rossa, as a recurring character, she doesn't appear in the show that much. So I'm going to put Rossa in the C tier. I was going to put her in the D tier, but you know what? I'll put her in the C tier because, yeah, she's all right. She's all right. As a recurring character, she's all right. Now, Sar. Sar made history. They are the first non-binary character to feature in Casualty, which of course is a massive achievement, don't get me wrong. And of course, Sar is a relatively new character, so they haven't really had an opportunity to shine yet. Saying that though, I really like their kind of backstory, how they were caring for their father and all of this. So I feel like they could do something with this character. At the moment though, I'm going to put Sar in the C tier because, you know what, not a bad character, gets on well with Ian, which I really like. It'll be interesting to see where they go with them because I feel like they could do something with this character. And last but not least, Teddy, paramedic, fairly new character. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan of Teddy. He's Jan's nephew and he has a controlling mum. But apart from that, they haven't done much with this character. He's kind of just there to interact with all the other paramedics and kind of provide an extra pair of hands. Now, as I am recording this, he is involved in a current storyline in which he appears to have a heart condition which may affect his future as a paramedic, because of course it's quite a physical job. And of course his mum doesn't want him to be a paramedic because she's quite paranoid herself and gets concerned that he's going to end up dead and she just can't go through with that. But to be honest, Teddy is a character I don't hate him, but I don't like him. He's just kind of there. So I'm going to put Teddy in the D tier because I just, you know what, in a year he might be the best character Casualty has ever had. But at the moment, he is D tier. Now, that brings me to the end of my tier ranking. So this is where it ended up. As you can see, the majority of the characters end up in C tier. And C tier is quite broad because, you know, it kind of goes from underdeveloped characters to the potential is there, but I would just like to see more from them. So C tier is not bad. I would say anything below D tier is characters that I really don't like. So Matthew, for instance, he's probably the only character I would say, you know what, if they're going to get rid of anyone, I would say get rid of Matthew. But the majority are pretty good. I like the majority of characters in Casualty, and some, like Dylan and Ethan, are some of the best they've ever had in the program. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you could remember to like, comment, and subscribe in order to receive great and maybe even improved quality content in future. I do apologise if this video appeared a bit amateur, you know, like all my other videos. Obviously this is my first video using OBS, so please comment how I could improve, because of course I want to make good quality content for you guys. And I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I will see you in another one. See you later.